As the wedding march reached its climax, the wedding MC asked Kevin Smith with great emotion, "Do you take?" Suddenly, his phone rang out of place. Kevin answered the call, and his face instantly turned deathly pale. He roared into the phone, "What's wrong with Sophia?" After hanging up, he didn't even glance at me. Right in front of the 500 guests, he tore off his boutonniere and took off his crisp suit jacket. "Emily, I'm sorry." His voice trembled, but with an unyielding determination. "Sophia. She committed suicide for me. The dead should be respected. I have to go and see her for the last time." He thought I would cry and beg him not to leave. "Wait for me." He threw this line and turned to run. "I'll come back and give you a grander wedding." I watched his disappearing back, picked up the MC's microphone, and smiled. Since he wanted to rush to a funeral, I'd grant his wish. "Kevin, I'll arrange this grand funeral for you. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain calm." My voice echoed clearly throughout the banquet hall through the microphone. The 500 guests, who were previously chattering because of the groom's fleeing, fell silent at once and looked up at me in the pure white wedding dress on the stage. Kevin's parents, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Linda Smith, turned ashen and quickly tried to come on stage to pull me back, but were stopped in their tracks by my icy glare. "I'm very sorry that there's been a little accident with today's wedding." I gave a faint smile to the guests below. There was no trace of a bride's sweetness in my smile, only a chilling coldness. "The groom, Mr. Kevin Smith, has to rush to his ex-girlfriend's funeral. After all, the dead should be respected." There was a stir in the hall. What's going on?" "Ex-girlfriend. Is it Sophia Clark from the Clark family? Oh my God. Running off to see his ex-girlfriend during the wedding. Where can the young lady of the Taylor family put her face?" I ignored those looks of sympathy, ridicule, or the expectation of drama, and continued to calmly give instructions through the microphone as if I were hosting a business press conference. "Security department, listen up." As soon as I finished speaking, the head of the security department of my father's company immediately led the team forward and replied in unison, "Yes. First, replace the huge wedding photo of me and Mr. Kevin Smith at the entrance of the banquet hall with his black and white solo photo right away. If you can't find one, edit one on site. Make sure it's done within 15 minutes. Second, remove all the festive red roses, red carpets, and red decorations on the scene and replace them with white chrysanthemums and white carpets. My assistant has the contact information of the flower shop. Charge the expenses to my account. Third, change the background music from the wedding march to funeral music, the saddest kind." As my instructions were clearly issued one by one, the entire banquet hall was deathly silent. Everyone was stunned by my actions. Kevin's mother, Mrs. Linda Smith, finally came to her senses and pointed at me, screaming, "Emily, you're crazy. What nonsense are you talking about? Do you want to ruin the Smith family?" I slowly turned my head and looked at this prospective mother-in-law who was once kind and gentle to me. "Mrs. Smith, if your son doesn't care about the reputation of the Smith family, why should I, an outsider, care?" I let out a soft laugh. "He wants to rush to a funeral. I'm always considerate, since he attaches so much importance to this funeral. As his former fiancé, I naturally have to set the right mood for him. Well, go and bring Kevin back right away. He's just confused for a moment," Mr. Smith said with a stern face, trying to ease the situation. "No need." I raised my hand, stopping his movement. What's the point of chasing after a man who would abandon me at his own wedding for another woman? Recycle trash. I paused, scanning the room, my voice suddenly rising with unquestionable authority. I, Emily Taylor, hereby formally announce: my wedding with Kevin Smith is cancelled from this moment forward. This wedding will now be changed to Mr. Kevin Smith's memorial service. Since all guests are here, Please sit down comfortably and join in commemorating this deeply affectionate man who, for the sake of love, didn't hesitate to abandon his wife and betray his morals. After speaking, I lifted my left hand. Under the sunlight, the eternal heart diamond ring, worth millions, sparkled brilliantly. Kevin had placed it on my finger himself 3 months ago during a highly publicized proposal, symbolizing the utmost sincerity of our family's business alliance. Now, it seemed like a colossal joke. Without a shred of sentiment, I slid it off my ring finger. Emily, don't be impulsive. Mr. Smith panicked. He knew full well the ring's significance. Clutching the ring, I stepped down from the stage, my high heels clicking crisply on the red carpet. I didn't head toward the Smith family parents but walked straight to the wishing fountain at the center of the banquet hall. Under everyone's horrified gaze, I raised my hand. No. Linda Smith let out a piercing scream. The eternal heart traced a cold arc through the air and, without hesitation, plunged with a splash into the drain grate beneath the fountain, vanishing without a trace in the flowing water. Just like my ridiculous relationship with Kevin, from today onward, I turned, my icy gaze sweeping over the Smith family parents' ashen faces. The Taylor Group and all its subsidiaries will immediately and unilaterally terminate all collaborative projects with the Smith Group. For all ongoing contracts, the legal department will pursue maximum compensation based on breach clauses. As for the funds already invested, I smiled. A smile that made Mr. Smith shudder. Consider it my condolence offering to Mr. Kevin Smith. Mr. Smith staggered back, nearly losing his balance. The Smith Group had overextended itself in recent years. With a tight cash flow, the key projects with the Taylor Group were their lifeline. My move was like yanking out their ventilator. Emily, you can't do this. You're trying to kill the Smith family. Linda completely broke down, lunging to grab my arm. My bodyguards immediately stepped forward, blocking her. I stared coldly at her. It's not me who's killing you. It's your precious son, Kevin. My brother David Taylor quickly walked to my side, taking off his suit jacket and draping it over my bare shoulders, covering my white wedding dress. Emily, leave this to me, he said softly, his eyes filled with pain and fury. I'll clean it up. I nodded, not glancing back at the devastated Smith couple, and turned away, escorted by David and the bodyguards. I left what should have been the happiest day of my life but had become the biggest joke. In the car home, I didn't cry, not a single tear. Calmly, I took out my phone and called my father, Robert Taylor. Dad, it's me. On the other end, Robert's voice was steady and strong. I already know, David reported to me. Do whatever you want to do. The Taylor family will always have your back. Thanks, Dad. My voice was hoarse. Silly child. No need to thank family. Robert Taylor sighed. I just feel sorry for you. I'm not sorry. I looked out the window at the rapidly receding street scenes, my eyes icy cold. After today, I won't be the one feeling sorry. I'll make others feel sorry. After hanging up the phone, I immediately called my chief secretary, Anna. Immediately organize an emergency online meeting with the legal department, finance department, and project department. In half an hour, I want to see termination plans and compensation claims for all projects with the Smith family. Also, notify the PR department to prepare a press release. The theme is, due to Kevin's personal reasons, the wedding is cancelled and cooperation is terminated. Don't hold back on the wording. Lay out the facts. Yes, Emily. Anna's reply was crisp and efficient. After doing all this, I leaned back in my seat and closed my eyes. In my mind, I saw the resolute back of Kevin Smith running out. Kevin Smith. For a dead person, you gave me a grand humiliation. Well, I'll give you an even grander funeral. Between us, we're even. Back at the Taylor family home, I took off that ridiculous wedding dress and changed into a sharp black suit. In the mirror, My face showed no trace of sadness, only the precision of makeup and meticulous coldness. My father sat on the sofa in the living room. Seeing me come down, he waved me over. Come here, Emily. I walked over and sat down beside him. Robert. I'm sorry. Because of me. The Taylor family's face. Nonsense. Robert interrupted me, his tone serious. My Taylor family daughter. Only we can make her suffer. How can others make her suffer? Cough. Anyway. You did the right thing. He cleared his throat. If others bully us, should we just swallow it? My Robert Taylor's daughter isn't that weak. That Smith family boy is blind. He has no luck. My heart warmed. As for the Smith family, my father changed the subject, his eyes sharpening. I've already sent David to handle it. He'll coordinate with your team to give them a lesson in the stock market. Since we've decided to cut ties, we must do it cleanly, leaving no aftermath. That's my father. Decisive and ruthless. I'm glad I was born into the Taylor family. If I were just an ordinary girl, facing such betrayal and humiliation at the wedding today, I could only cry and be pitied. I couldn't do anything, but I am Emily Taylor. I have the capital and the confidence to make those who betray me pay the heaviest price. Kevin only realized the world had come crashing down 2 hours later. He rushed to the hospital, threw himself in front of Sophia Clark's corpse. Crying heartbrokenly, he held her cold hand, pouring out his guilt towards me and his deep feelings for her. Sophia, why were you so foolish? Wait for me. I'll come to you after I clear things up with Emily Taylor. We can be together forever. I'm sorry to you. And sorry to Emily Taylor. But Sophia, the one I love has always been only you. He was immersed in self-pitying grief, completely unaware of the nurses and doctors looking at him like he was an idiot. Until an on-duty doctor couldn't stand it anymore, walked over and patted his shoulder. Sir, please calm down. How can I calm down? The person I love is dead. Kevin Smith roared, his eyes reddening. The doctor pointed awkwardly at the ECG. Sir, this young lady's heartbeat is steady. She just fainted due to emotional stress and not eating. Low blood sugar. That's all. Kevin's crying stopped abruptly. He stiffly turned his head, looking at the steadily beating green line on the ECG, his mind blank. You said. What? I said. The patient is fine. We've already administered glucose. And she should wake up soon. The doctor explained dutifully. But when she was brought in, she kept insisting on committing suicide, and said she wouldn't stop until she saw someone named Kevin Smith. We were worried about an accident, so we notified the family members. Kevin was stunned. He slowly lowered his head, looking at the dead Sophia Clark on the hospital bed, her long eyelashes seeming to flutter slightly. A surge of anger from being deceived and tricked rushed to his head. Just then, Sophia slowly woke up. She opened her eyes, saw Kevin, and immediately showed a weak and aggrieved expression, tears streaming down her face like broken pearls. Kevin, I knew it. You still care about me. You still came to see me. She struggled to sit up to hug Kevin, but Kevin stepped back suddenly, as if avoiding the plague. He stared at her intently, his voice squeezed through his teeth. Sophia, you're not dead. Sophia froze, her sorrowful expression stiffening. Kevin, what do you mean? I was willing to die for you. And instead of comforting me, you're being so harsh. She started crying again. Stop acting. Kevin finally exploded. You didn't commit suicide at all. You just fainted. You lied to me. He pointed at her, trembling with anger. Do you know what day it is today? Today is my and Emily Taylor's wedding. Because of you, I ran out of the wedding in front of 500 guests. Now you're telling me it was all an act. Sophia was stunned by his shouting, forgetting to cry. I didn't mean to. She panicked, beginning to babble incoherently. I just missed you so much. I heard you were getting married. I couldn't take it. I just wanted to see you one last time. I didn't think you'd really come. Didn't think. Kevin scoffed bitterly. Sophia, you're quite the manipulator. He finally understood. All this talk of love suicide. One last meeting. It was all Sophia's act to force him to make a choice. And he, like a complete fool, had personally ruined his own wedding, betrayed Emily, and offended the entire Taylor family. Just as Kevin was filled with remorse and wanted to go back immediately to explain to me, his phone started ringing like crazy. It was his father calling. Dad. You unfilial son. Get your ass back here right now. On the other end of the phone, Mr. Smith's voice was filled with extreme rage. Look at what you've done. Kevin's heart sank. Dad. What's wrong? Is it Emily? Emily. She's doing great. Mr. Smith roared. She turned your wedding into your memorial service. Now all the media in the city knows that you jilted your bride for your ex-girlfriend and were mourned on the spot. You've shamed the entire Smith family. What? Memorial service. Kevin was completely confused. Look at the news yourself. After shouting, Mr. Smith added with a desperate sob. Kevin. The Taylor family. The Taylor family has completely withdrawn their investment. Our company's stocks have hit the daily limit down. Boom. Kevin's head felt like it was exploding. Buzzing non-stop. He hung up the phone with a trembling hand and opened the financial news. The front page headline was his giant photo, which had been turned into black and white and hung at the entrance of the banquet hall. The title was extremely eye-catching. The century wedding turns into the century funeral. The Smith heir runs away for love, and the Taylor heiress sees him off on the spot, causing the complete breakdown of the two families' cooperation. Below the news was an official statement from the Taylor Group. The wording was harsh, clearly listing the reasons for terminating the cooperation and stating that they would hold the Smith Group fully responsible for the breach of contract. Further down was the stock price chart of the Smith Group, which was dropping straight down and looking disgustingly green. It was over. Everything was over. Kevin's legs went weak and he slumped down on the cold hospital floor. He rushed to the wedding hotel like a madman. He wanted to find me and explain. He thought it was all a misunderstanding. As long as he explained clearly that I had been deceived by Sophia, Emily, who loved him so much, would surely forgive him. However, when he rushed back to the hotel, what greeted him was an empty banquet hall. The red carpet was gone. The roses were gone. And even his black and white memorial photo had been cleaned up completely. It was as if that absurd memorial service had never happened. Only his parents and a few company executives were sitting in the empty hall, looking ashen-faced. Dad. Mom. Where's Emily? He rushed over and asked anxiously. Slap. A loud slap landed hard on his face. It was Mr. Smith who had slapped him. You still have the nerve to ask about Emily. Mr. Smith was so angry that he was shaking all over. He pointed at Kevin's nose and scolded. You hurt her so badly. Do you think she'd wait for you here? You brute. Do you know what you've ruined? Dad. I was wrong. I was deceived by Sophia. She's not dead at all. Kevin covered his face and anxiously defended himself. I'll go find Emily right now to explain. Explain. Linda Smith sneered, her eyes devoid of their former kindness, filled only with venom. It's too late. Everything is too late. The Taylor family has activated all the breach clauses, and the bank has started demanding loan repayment. The company's cash flow is about to break. Our Smith family is going to be bankrupted by you. Kevin Smith froze completely. Only then did he realize the severity of the situation far exceeded his imagination. Emily Taylor was not joking. She truly intended to make him and the Smith family suffer eternal ruin. The following days were hellish torment for the Smith family. The Taylor Group's legal team pounced like wolves, scrutinizing every contract clause relentlessly. Bank calls demanding repayment came one after another. Business partners terminated agreements one by one, fearing involvement. Negative media coverage flooded in, portraying Kevin as an ungrateful, Utterly foolish scumbag. And the Smith family's corporate reputation plummeted. The stock price of Smith Group fell by the daily limit for 3 consecutive days. Mr. Smith's hair turned white overnight. Linda wept daily. And the entire Smith family was shrouded in gloom. And I, Emily Taylor, never showed up once. Kevin frantically searched for me. He went to the Taylor family villa but was stopped by security at the gate. He went to Taylor Group but couldn't even get past the receptionist. He called my phone, but it was always unreachable. He sent me WeChat messages, only to be met with red exclamation marks each time. He felt abandoned by the whole world. He began sending me long, rambling texts, dozens, hundreds a day. Emily, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please forgive me. It was all Sophia Clark deceiving me. I've cut all ties with her. I swear. Give me another chance. I'll treat you right. And we can start over. Emily, please answer my calls. I'm begging you. I'm going crazy. You can't do this to me. After all these years of feelings. Were they all fake? I looked at those texts and deleted them one by one. Expressionless feelings. The moment he abandoned me at the altar for another woman, all that remained between us was a bill. A week later, Smith Group finally couldn't hold on. The cash flow completely broke, teetering on the brink of bankruptcy liquidation. Mr. Smith brought Kevin and intercepted my car in the Taylor Group underground garage as I left work. Mr. Smith's hair was entirely white. Once a confident business titan, he now looked haggard. Aged 20 years. Kevin was unshaven, eyes bloodshot, and gaunt. When he saw me step out of the car, he lunged forward frantically. Emily. My bodyguards immediately restrained him. Emily. Miss Taylor. Mr. Smith bent his proud spine, his voice hoarse with pleading. Please, show mercy and give our Smith family a way out. I looked down at them, my eyes utterly calm. Mr. Smith, business is like war. Once you make a move, there's no regret. Our initial partnership was based on mutual benefit. Ending it now is because Kevin Smith's actions have severely damaged Taylor Group's interests and reputation. Everything follows the contract. How is there any talk of mercy? I beg you. Mr. Smith cried out. Then with a thud, he started to kneel. I frowned and sidestepped to avoid. Mr. Smith, what are you doing? I can't accept this. Kevin Smith saw his father kneeling, his eyes wide with fury. He struggled and shouted at me. Emily Taylor, what do you want? Are you only satisfied when you've driven our whole family to death? Drive you to death. I finally looked directly at him, a mocking smile curling at the corner of my lips. Kevin, from the very beginning, it's been you who's been forcing me. It was you, at our wedding, who forced me to become the laughingstock of the whole city. It was you, with your deep affection, who forced me to sever all collaborations with my own hands. It was you, with your stupidity, who forced your father to kneel before me. I walked step by step toward him, the sound of my high heels in the empty garage like a death knell tolling on his heart. Now, what right do you have to question me? Kevin was rendered speechless by my question, his face pale. Emily. He lowered his head dejectedly, his voice choked with tears. I know I was wrong. Give me a chance to make it up. Okay, I'll do anything you want, as long as you spare the Smith family. Anything. I raised an eyebrow. He seemed to grasp at a lifeline, suddenly looking up and nodding vigorously. Yes, anything. I smiled. All right, I said leisurely. Then, right now, kneel down and apologize to me for what you did that day at the wedding. Kevin's body stiffened abruptly. Mr. Smith's face also changed, making him kneel and apologize in front of so many people. That was worse than killing him. What? I looked at his hesitant expression, my smile turning colder. Can't do it. Your anything turns out to be so cheap. Kevin's face flushed and paled alternately. His fists clenched so tightly that his nails dug into his palms. Dignity and the survival of his family warred in his mind. In the end, reality crushed all his pride. His knees gave way, and with a thud, he knelt on the cold concrete floor before me. S-O-R-R-Y. Each word seemed to be ground out from his throat, filled with humiliation and resentment. I watched him quietly. There was no imagined satisfaction, only indifference. "I've received your apology," I said flatly, "but I don't accept it." I walked around him and headed to my car. As for the Smith family, I opened the car door, glanced back at the father and son one last time. "A company will conduct a bankruptcy acquisition of you. Good luck." The car door closed, and I drove away, leaving behind Kevin kneeling on the ground, letting out a desperate roar. The acquisition of the bankrupt Smith Group was carried out quickly. The acquirer was a newly established investment company named Morningstar Capital. This company was generous and its background was mysterious. It acquired all the assets of the Smith Group at a relatively fair price and assumed most of its debts, avoiding the worst outcome for the Smith family ending up on the streets. Mr. Smith, Kevin's father, and Linda lost the company, but at least they managed to keep a self-occupied villa and some money for retirement. So they weren't too miserable. Kevin was extremely grateful to me because of this. He thought that at the last moment, I softened my heart and found someone to acquire the Smith Group, leaving him with some dignity. He started to pester me even more crazily. He would wait for me downstairs of my company every day, regardless of the weather. He would send me flowers, write love letters, and make all kinds of little things that I used to like. He put himself in a very low position, like a dog wagging its tail and begging for mercy. "Emily, I know the Morning Star was arranged by you. Thank you. Thank you for still giving me a chance. Look, I've really changed. I won't disappoint you again. Can we start over? This time, I'll surely give you the best in the world." I was extremely annoyed. Finally, one day, when he blocked my car again and tried to give me a large bunch of white roses, I rolled down the window. "Kevin." I looked at his face filled with so-called affection and repentance and found it extremely ironic. "Emily." His eyes lit up, thinking that I had finally changed my mind. First, Morningstar Capital was not arranged by me. I, Emily Taylor, never do things half-heartedly. If I said I'd make you bankrupt, I'd never show mercy. Second, stop sending me white roses. I pointed at the bunch of flowers. When I see them, I can only think of the memorial service I held for you. It gives me the creeps. Kevin's face instantly lost all color. Then who it is has nothing to do with you. I interrupted him coldly. "Kevin, it's all over between us. What you should do now is not to pester me, but to find a job and support yourself properly. Don't let your elderly parents worry about you anymore." After saying that, I rolled up the window and told the driver, "Drive." Kevin seemed to be hit hard by my words. He was in a slump for a few days, but soon he perked up again. He probably thought that as long as he became excellent again, I would change my mind. He started to send out resumes everywhere to look for a job. However, the glorious name of the groom who ran away from the wedding had already spread throughout the business circle, and no decent company dared to hire him. After facing repeated rejections, he set his sights on Morningstar Capital, which had acquired the Smith Group. After all, he was most familiar with the former Smith Group's business. He pulled countless strings and finally got an interview opportunity, the special assistant to the chairman. He prepared meticulously for this for a long time and put himself in the lowest position. On the day of the interview, he wore a brand new suit, cheered himself up, and sat in the luxurious meeting room of Morningstar Capital, waiting for his future boss, the mysterious chairman. He fantasized that he could impress this new boss with his outstanding abilities, rise again step by step, and finally stand in front of me as a strong man. The door of the meeting room was pushed open, A figure in a black business suit skirt and 10-centimeter high heels walked in. Surrounded by a group of senior executives, Kevin looked up. The confidence and expectation on his face froze the moment he saw me, and then shattered bit by bit. "Hello, Mr. Smith." I walked to the main seat and sat down. Crossing my legs and folding my hands on the table, I looked down at him like a queen. "I'm the chairman of Morningstar Capital, Emily Taylor, and your interviewer today." Kevin Smith's expression was as if he had seen a ghost. Shock, bewilderment, disbelief, and finally, overwhelming shame and embarrassment. How could it be you?" His lips trembled, unable to form a complete sentence for a long moment. "Why couldn't it be me?" I retorted. My tone as casual as if discussing the weather. "Morningstar is a new company I registered using my personal assets." What I said back then wasn't a lie in any way. The Taylor Family Corporation indeed showed no mercy, but I, Emily Taylor, personally bought his company. What he thought was his salvation was actually another cage I tailor-made for him. "You," he pointed at me, shaking with rage. "You tricked me." "Tricked you?" I laughed. "Mr. Smith, mind your language. This is a fair business acquisition and a formal job interview. If you feel tricked, you can leave right now." Of course, he couldn't leave. This was his last chance. He gritted his teeth, his chest heaving violently, and in the end, he sat down in humiliation. "Let's begin." I picked up his resume, flipping through it like it was an unimportant document. Kevin, 28 years old. Graduated from a certain university with a degree in business administration. Formerly served as general manager of the Smith Family Corporation. As I read out his background, his face grew paler with each word. "So, Mr. Smith, what makes you qualified for the position of executive assistant to the chairman?" He opened his mouth, but all the prepared pitches he had to impress his new boss vanished. Not a single word came out. In front of me, all his pride and pretense became a joke. The interview proceeded in an extremely eerie and oppressive atmosphere. It was less of an interview and more of my one-sided judgment. Every question I asked hit his sore spots precisely. "Mr. Smith, as an executive assistant to the chairman, you need exceptional crisis management skills. Suppose you're handling a crucial business partnership press conference and suddenly get a personal call. How would you handle it?" His face instantly flushed beet red. "Mr. Smith, this role demands absolute loyalty to partners. How do you define the word loyalty?" His fists clenched under the table, creaking audibly. "Mr. Smith, our company values the spirit of contracts highly. For someone who can easily tear up a marriage vow, how can I trust you'll honor your employment contract?" Finally, he couldn't take it anymore and sprang to his feet. "Enough," he growled. "Emily Taylor, what do you really want? You bought my company, made me come to this interview, just to humiliate me." "Humiliate you?" I lifted my eyes, staring at him coldly. "Kevin, have you forgotten who humiliated whom first? At the wedding, when you abandoned me in front of everyone for Sophia Clark. Did you ever think that was humiliating me too? I'm only giving back what you did to me, in a different way." I stood up, walked over to him, and met his gaze directly. "You ask what I want. I want you to see me every day, sitting in the position you once held, controlling the lives work of your father. I want you to bow down to me every day and call me Chairman Emily. I want you to see with your own eyes how well I can live without you. And you, without me, have nothing." I leaned close to his ear and said in a voice only we could hear, word by word, "I want you to regret your choice that day for the rest of your life." Kevin Smith's body swayed, as if all his strength had been drained, and he slumped back into the chair dejectedly. His eyes went from anger to resentment, and finally, only ashen despair remained. He understood. I didn't want his life. I wanted to crush his spirit. "The interview is over." I straightened up, resuming that businesslike cold expression. "HR will notify you of the result." After saying that, I turned and left the conference room. The result? Of course, it was a job offer. How could such a fun game end so easily? The next day, Kevin received the job offer. He came, wearing the standard employee uniform. He stood at the door of my office and knocked. "Come in." He pushed the door open, came in with his head down, and said in a dry voice, Ms. Taylor. I'm here to report. I was reviewing documents without looking up. Your desk is outside. Anna will tell you the specific job duties. Yes. He turned to leave. Wait. I called him back. His body stiffened. And he stopped. I picked up a freshly brewed cup of coffee from the desk and handed it to him. Go. Add 2 sugar cubes and half a spoon of milk for me. This was my old habit. And it was something he used to do for me every morning. Kevin's body trembled uncontrollably. He looked up at me with red eyes, his gaze full of humiliation and pleading. I just looked at him quietly, saying nothing. After a few seconds of standoff, he gave in, silently took the coffee cup, and walked out. I knew that from this moment on, all his pride had been crushed by my own hands. Kevin became my personal assistant. My schedule, my meeting minutes, my coffee and tea, even my lunch, were all his responsibility. I tied him firmly to my side, making him a backdrop to my power, a witness to my success. I dressed impeccably every day, assertive and decisive in the company, and he could only follow behind me, wearing the most ordinary employee uniform, holding my files, opening the conference room door. Everyone knew our past. The way they looked at him was full of sympathy and contempt, and the way they looked at me was full of awe and fear. They said, Ms. Taylor is really ruthless. That's how you should treat an ex. I don't care what they say. I was just enjoying the process. Enjoying watching Kevin Smith having his will worn down day by day. Becoming numb. Becoming submissive. He no longer tried to explain anything to me. Nor did he bring up past feelings. He was just like a soulless puppet, accurately completing every task I assigned. Sometimes, when working late at night, the vast office would be left with just the 2 of us. I would suddenly ask him, Kevin, do you regret it? He would be silent for a long time, then answer softly, I do. Regret what? Regret that day, running away at the wedding. I would laugh. It's too late. Days like this lasted for half a year. The Smith Group, under my management, had completely shaken off the shadows of the past. With business thriving, even more glorious than before, and Kevin, from a pampered rich boy, had become a qualified, quiet and reticent assistant. I thought he would stay like this forever. Until that day, Sophia Clark came to the company. She was dressed pitifully, crying and shouting at the front desk to see Kevin. Kevin, come out to see me. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. You can't just abandon me because Emily Taylor is rich and powerful. We are true love. Her cries attracted many employees to watch. I walked out of the office, coldly watching this farce. Kevin walked out from behind me, his face pale, trying to pull Sophia away. What are you doing here? Get out. I won't go. Sophia tightly gripped him. Kevin, come with me. Let's leave here. Go somewhere no one knows us. And start over. I crossed my arms, watching them like a play. Kevin, I said calmly. During work hours, handle your personal matters. Don't affect the company's image. Sophia saw me and immediately, like a lit firecracker, shouted at me. Emily, you vicious woman. It's you. You're using your power to force Kevin, trapping him by your side and tormenting him. You don't love him at all. You just want to take revenge on him. Oh, I raised an eyebrow. He himself is willing to stay and be tormented by me. What's your problem? You. Sophia choked with anger. At that moment, Kevin suddenly made a move that surprised everyone. He violently shook off Sophia's hand. Shut up. He roared at Sophia. unleashing a long-suppressed rage. I stay here not because she forced me. It's because I owe her. He turned around and, for the first time in half a year, dared to look me straight in the eyes. That gaze was so complex I couldn't quite decipher it. There was regret, pain, and a hint of a resolve I'd never seen before. Emily Taylor. He took a deep breath, as if summoning every ounce of strength in his body. What happened today was my failure. I'll handle it. Once it's settled, I'll submit my resignation to you. I was stunned. This was the first time I'd seen him volunteer to leave. I thought he'd cling to me like a vine to a tree, barely surviving. I never expected he'd want to break free on his own. You're resigning. I narrowed my eyes. Yes. He nodded, his expression unusually firm. Over the past 6 months. Thank you for Emily's guidance. I think I've repaid what I owed you. I ruined your wedding. You ruined my career and dignity. We're even. After saying that, he didn't look at me or Sophia Clark anymore. Turned, and without a backward glance, dragged the still sobbing woman out of the company door. I stood there, watching his resolute back, and suddenly felt an indescribable emptiness. It was like a game I'd meticulously planned for so long, reaching its peak, only for the opponent to quit. Pointless. Or perhaps I'd overestimated the thrill this revenge would bring and underestimated its inherent futility. The next day, Kevin Smith's resignation letter was right on time on my desk. I picked up a pen and signed my name in the approve column. Emily Taylor. From start to finish. What I wanted wasn't his submission. It was his complete disappearance. Kevin took Sophia and left the city. I heard they went to a distant small town. Kevin found a very ordinary job, and Sophia seemed to settle down. They finally lived the life they wanted, abandoning everything for love alone. As for me, I continued as the lofty queen of the Taylor family. Kevin was gone from my life. At first, I felt a bit unaccustomed. I was used to someone making my coffee every day, arranging my schedule, and silently enduring my outbursts. But soon, a new executive assistant filled that gap. He was more professional, more efficient, and more boring than Kevin. Life flowed on like a steady river, until a year later, at my brother David Taylor's wedding. The ceremony was grand and lavish, the bride beaming with joy, my brother's eyes full of adoration. As the maid of honor, I stood beside them, watching them exchange rings and share a deep kiss. The officiant spoke words of blessing. Guests applauded and cheered. In that moment, I suddenly remembered my own unfinished wedding. I remembered Kevin's words. The dead are to be respected. I remembered the memorial service I'd held for him myself. And in my heart, there wasn't a single ripple. I even found it somewhat laughable. At the wedding reception, I was alone, holding a wine glass, taking a breath in the garden. A gentle voice sounded behind me. Emily Taylor. Drinking alone here. I turned and saw a strange man. He was dressed in a well-fitted suit, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, looking refined. Who are you? My name is Lin Sue, a friend of the groom, and also the legal advisor of Morning Star Capital. He introduced himself with a smile. I suddenly realized, after Morning Star Capital acquired the Smith family, they conducted a series of complex legal restructurings, all handled by a top-notch legal team. Lin Sue was probably the person in charge. Attorney Lin. Hello. I raised my glass to him. May I sit down? He pointed to the empty seat beside me. I nodded. Emily, today you seem preoccupied. He spoke, his tone not probing, but stating, do I? I smiled self-deprecatingly. Perhaps it's triggered by the scene. For someone unworthy, it's not worth it. Lin Sue hit the nail on the head. I looked at him in surprise. He smiled, adjusted his glasses. Sorry. Occupational habit. I like analyzing cases. Your case. I followed it through. So, Attorney Lin, you think you understand the whole case? Of course not. He shook his head. I just saw, from a legal and business perspective, a decisive and intelligent woman, how she carried out a textbook-level counterattack. But from a human perspective, he paused, his gaze deepening. I guess you're not happy. My heart felt like something had lightly stung it. Happy. I chewed on the word, finding it somewhat unfamiliar. For me, success is more important than happiness. But isn't success meant to make oneself happier? Lin Su retorted. I fell silent. Yes. I did so much. Trampling Kevin Smith underfoot. Making him regret. Making him suffer. Did I succeed? Yes. Am I happy? After that momentary thrill, what remained was a deeper void. Perhaps. I took a sip of wine, no longer arguing. Emily. Lin Su looked at me, his eyes sincere. You deserve better. Such as. I raised an eyebrow at him. Such as. A man who, at a wedding, no matter whose call he receives, will hang up without hesitation, and then say I do to you. His words were like a stone thrown into the still lake of my heart, which had been calm for too long, creating ripples. I looked at him, and he was looking at me. There was no sympathy or awe in his eyes, only an equal and appreciative gleam. Suddenly, I laughed. It was the kind of sincere laugh that I hadn't had for a long time. Attorney Lin. Are you volunteering for the job? He also smiled and nodded frankly. If Ms. Emily is willing to give me an interview opportunity. After that day, Lin Su really started his interview. He would ask me out for dinner on the pretext of work. He would happen to pass by my company and bring me a cup of my favorite coffee. When I worked overtime until late at night, he would send me a message saying, go to bed early. Don't ruin your health for a job that's not worth it. Everything he did was just right. Neither overstepping nor falling short. He never made me feel offended. Yet I could clearly sense his affection. Being with him was very comfortable. I didn't need to pretend to be a queen, nor did I need to be on guard all the time. He understood my strength and saw my exhaustion. Once, we talked about Kevin. I asked him, if you were me back then, what would you have done? He thought for a while and said, I might have been even harsher than you. But after settling everything, I would choose to forget and then go in search of true happiness that belongs to me. The pleasure of revenge is short-lived, but happiness is long-lasting. He looked at me seriously and said, Emily, you deserve long-lasting happiness. At that moment, I seemed to let go completely. All my hatred and desire for revenge towards Kevin stemmed from that grand betrayal and unwillingness. After I returned it all double. That sense of unwillingness faded away. All that remained was a symbol named Kevin that had nothing to do with me. My life shouldn't be stuck on that page forever. Half a year later, I posted a photo on my WeChat Moments. It was a group photo of me and Lin Su. In the photo, we were both smiling happily. On my hand, there was a simple yet dazzling diamond ring. The caption read, this time, no one will run away. There were a bunch of likes and blessings below. David commented, you've got good sense. My dad, Robert, commented, like Anna commented, Ms. Emily, happy wedding. Do you want to take a honeymoon? Sparkling eyes, I replied to them all with a smile. Before turning off my phone, out of the blue, I clicked on a chat window that I hadn't looked at or deleted for a long time. It was Kevin's. Our chat history still stopped at those humble and remorseful text messages he sent before he quit his job. I hesitated for a moment and took him out of the blacklist. Then, I saw his latest post on WeChat Moments. It was posted yesterday. There was a photo of a haggard-looking woman holding a baby, with a shabby town hospital in the background. That woman was Sophia. The caption read, the arrival of a new life is both a responsibility and a shackle. That sentence was filled with exhaustion and helplessness, and there was no longer the passion of being reckless for love. I looked at the photo without a single ripple in my heart. For the so-called true love, he gave up an easy and prosperous path. In the end, he was dragged into the quagmire of life by this true love. This was his choice. This is exactly what he got for asking for it. I exited his social media feed. Long pressed. Tapped. Deleted. This time, it was a permanent deletion. I looked up. The sunlight outside the window was perfect. Lin Su brought over a cup of hot milk and placed it by my hand. What are you looking at? Nothing. I smiled, shook my head, and held his hand, looking at my lasting happiness. On the wedding day, he gave me a funeral for his first love, so I repaid him with a grand mourning, letting his life live in the shadows from then on. And I turned around and walked toward my sunlight.